Good afternoon, sir. We welcome you on Curious Times, and we are very delighted that you accepted our invite. And you're here, and our audience are going to be extremely happy to have some senior professional like you talking about some of the very pressing issues of education sector. Welcome on Curious Times.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I represent the BCM Foundation based in Ludhiana. We run a chain of schools at college, and currently we are working on a project with Birmingham City University to set up a center of innovation and enterprise. We have around now BCM schools have over 20,000 students on rolls, and we are known for high quality, affordable education.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, we will, like we've been discussing with a lot of educators, and we've also sort of shared some of our discussions with you in the past. I'll start our little bit of interaction on the topics that we are going to be emphasizing on this Teachers' Day. One of the topics which is very relevant today and also being talked about and has become important in the last 3-4 years is the importance of technology in education. So there is a lot of things about ed tech versus just the technology in education. How do you use it? So what are your views? With there's a lot of content, there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot that is happening on the technology side. What role will technology play in a student's life, and what is the role then of a teacher in a student's life?
Very nice. This is a very important question, and I'm happy you started with this. So, if you see the various walks of life, technology has made a major impact. But technology was the last impact on education, and pandemic, as you mentioned, hastened it. When I mentioned technology to our schools back in 2018, the typical response was, sir, our schools are traditional schools and teachers are traditional, they don't know how to use. And then pandemic happened. And all of a sudden, like an inflection point, we moved from one level to straight another level. I remember the lockdown took place on 20th or 21st of March 20, and on 1st of April or somewhere around that, the schools were to reopen. But I'm glad to share with you that during those 10-12 days, we trained everybody in the organization, and on in April when the schools reopened, we were on the virtual teaching mode. We did not lose even a day. And I want to thank all the teachers. If you remember, there were a billion students in the world out of schools, colleges, and this was a challenge continuing their learning and education. And to you and to all the people who are associated with media technology, this has been a massive effort, and I'm very happy that across the world people have done amazing things with the technology. Uh, it was a blessing in disguise. Maybe, as you say, never lose a crisis, a good opportunity in a crisis. So I think the society and teaching community particularly did avail of this opportunity which the crisis brought in. Going forward, I believe that it is opening up new possibilities. We are working on a metaverse, which will be a game changer for the technology. New technologies like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and metaverse are the future. And you have seen how technology has blended very well, not only in the schools, but schools plus the edtech institutions. You are also a part of the edtech. So edtech has facilitated, and the beauty of technology is it has democratized education. So education is accessible to all people. And fortunately, before that, we had a telecom revolution, and most people had access to mobile phones. and therefore the access to education improved. I'm very sanguine that in the coming years, technology will actually reshape education, and blended learning, blended teaching will be the order of the day. Now, in this, you asked a very important question, that is how the role of the teacher will change. So just imagine, Deepti, that a student has access to vast amount of knowledge in a small device that he has in his pocket, the mobile phone. So when in your and my time, there was asymmetry of access to learning material. Today, that asymmetry has gone. The access is free, almost free. I mean, you can do a course in Harvard, or you can do a course in Khan Academy, or you can even do course in our own edtechs. If you are not going in advanced, you can do it virtually free. So that is a revolutionary in a country like us, which has many levels. There is 15th century India, 16th century, and then you are in the 21st century living in Gurgaon, Delhi. So there are all levels, and technology has a potential of being a big leveler. And I see that future. I mean, the teacher's role will actually change from giving access to knowledge to actually letting the student internalize that knowledge. Quality is a major concern of our education system. We have engineers who don't know, we have accountants who can't do accounting, and we have all kinds of professionals uh, being turned out from our education institutions, not matching. We have seen the NASCOM studies, 30% engineers employable, 20% management graduates employable, and all kinds of data. So in the new role of teacher, this low employability will go up because the learning of the students will get deeper, will be better, because now what will happen is technology will give the access. Student will do some homework before coming to the classes, and that is where the challenge is. The teacher has to now become a facilitator, not a teacher. In fact, he has to become a student himself or herself. And that is where I see a major challenge, and we are all trying to do, including you, to reorient our teachers to the new role of being mentor, coaches, facilitators, guides. That is where I see a major shift taking place.
So true. I think I also completely agree with what you said, and obviously the teachers' role will continue to be there. They could be last mile delivery providers for anything and facilitators. But I think they also need to learn alongside, because uh, the the students will end up learning faster because of their age, because of the exposure. So they have to learn alongside the students, and that is a bigger shift that we all need to bring at, including all of us, but that needs to happen in the teaching ecosystem as well. So the next thing that I would want to touch upon is like NEP 2020. It came in 2020, but I think the real implementation year is this year, when we're seeing like a lot of changes being brought around. Now, there's a lot of emphasis on skilling, lot of emphasis on experiential learning. And in your views, how does this add up to the learners, right, and the learning outcomes? Because end of the day, all the formats are devised by us. The earlier ones were designed by us. Somebody is giving a delivery, but at the end of the day, it's a learner. And how all of that is being talked about helps in learning outcomes.
See, as I see it, I come from corporate training background also. So if you remember in our training sessions, we would ask the audience, what is it that you expect out of the day we spent together? And there would be then a list of expectations, etc., etc. And then we will say, okay, at the end of the day, we will ask them, okay, these were the expectations and this is how we match. Unfortunately, this has not happened in India. And that is what is actually the critical problem or core problem of our education. In spite of knowing that outcome based education is important, we have not really adopted the outcome based education. And I am very happy that new education policy aims to um, aims to bridge many gaps that were there in the earlier. The focus on experiential learning is great. Any learning that cannot be translated into practice is not a good learning. It is an inspiration maybe for future practice. I'm not saying it is a waste, but it could be an inspiration for future practice. So my only concern is, we are we prepared as a country to implement what we have in mind? I mean, we are in a situation in the last 2 years I have seen, the more things change, the more they remain the same. So it is only adding one piece, that is one additional course on, you can take computer programming, AI or something else. It is still a patchwork. This is my personal view. My personal view is that you actually need to go back to the whiteboard and say, 21st century, what is the educational or the outcomes that we are looking for example, critical thinking, independent thinking, problem diagnostics, problem analytical tools, and then solution problem solving, and then loop feedback loop, creative thinking, innovation. So these are the themes of 21st century. Honestly, today the person who is the child who is entering our education system and will be passing out after 15 years doesn't, or if he goes to college another 3 or 4 years, 19 years, uh, doesn't know what is it that the job will be. I mean, today's top jobs that you see, whether it is the machine learning or AI or data analytics, were just not there 10 years ago. So we need to reorient our education in a way that enables. And we have all the time been focusing on our education that evaluates good, not so good, bad, poor. That has been not that you are able to do this. This is the tool. This is how we use the tool, the experiential learning or the project based learning stuff. So that should happen. And unfortunately, our school education system is not adequate, and that is why you see all the tuitions and all the problems associated with, which is, I believe, peculiar to India. I mean, just imagine the fate of a student goes to school 7:30 in the morning, comes back 2:30, have a quick lunch at home, 3 o'clock off to tuition. Where is the childhood? Where is that curiosity? Where is the exploration? Where is the outdoor learning? Where is the friend circle doing all the activities that you and I used to do while we were children? So I believe we probably need to reset maybe more. As I mentioned, it is more in the implementation, and implementation is happening, but I wish the speed was higher.
Right. Right. And sir, I think what you touched upon was part of my questionnaire also, and it's one of my favorite questions also. And exactly like you said, for example, we keep discussing that we should work for 8, 9 hours. We should not bring the work back to our home and, try and finish off and, make our schedules according to that. And here we have a child who spends 8 hours in school, and then they still have 3, 4, 5 more hours to go. And then there is tuition work, then there is like homework, and their calendar just doesn't seem to be over. So we sort of discussed with a lot of other educators also that there are a lot of coaching classes, and there are a lot of more companies coming, corporatizing the coaching space as well. And there are competitive exams. Now there are, you know three, four different formats of curriculum. And, so basically, do children actually need to go through the coaching classes process? Should there be same curriculum, or different curriculum, or should there be a definition around like what do these children prepare for, or and because perpetually they are always preparing for their assessments, right? I see, like, a lot more time getting going towards assessments and different types of assessments over there. Be it international of SATs, to be it CBSE, to grade 10, 12. So what's the solution to this over bearing and over pressurized environment that is existing for children today? But yeah, but fundamentally, what is required then? How does one, what are the two, three levers that we need to pick and address?
Yeah, Dipti, I'm familiar with the US education, school education system where my son studied, fortunately, in his 11th and 12th. So the possibilities are enormous, but the way we handle in our system, evaluation, as you rightly pointed out, is a major focus all the time. Whether it is a class, the first is you teach one chapter, there's a test, and then there's a series of tests, and then mid semester, and then another semester, and then final examination. So we had a few years back the continuous evaluation system, which somehow got dropped. But if you see overseas education from where we can learn, whether it is Finnish or others, so the schools are empowered. School is an entity which is autonomous and complete in itself. It designs its own curriculum. There is a accreditation system. So every school is accredited as A, B, C, and whatever. There is no central examination system. Just imagine the principal of a school goes to a bank branch in the morning to collect question papers, and then signs, scans the packet, takes his own picture, and then loads on some server, comes back, 3 or 4 of them get together with the packet, and then scan again, time, put time, this is, and then the test happens, and then evaluation happens. Just imagine, is it the right thing to do in school in the 21st century? We are talking of project-based learning. We are talking of the higher order learning or higher order skills. So I believe that, my personal view again, a revolutionary change is required in our education. It should have happened at the time of independence. To my mind, our half of our problem would not have been there if we
Right.
had just reoriented our education to what India needed, which is,
Required.
yeah, we did not do it, but we are still, I don't see that we are still there or talking about it. So if you enable a school, what happens? So there are all kinds of schools. You ask a school to do whatever they want to do with the student learning, blah, 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 evaluation, give your certificate, give awards. And then there is a, the child has either to go to the job market. So he is evaluated by the job market, or he is evaluated, or there is a central one independent test called SAT in US, for example. So you have SAT 1 if you are going to general kind of courses. You have SAT 2 if you are going to the special kind of courses like engineering. So you take those. And then every Ivy institution has a cutoff point. You have, for example, SAT, our last SAT score was say 1400, 1200, 1300 or whatever, isn't it? So I think going forward, we should think seriously of empowering schools to deliver their job. there is an inspection system, there is a accreditation system, which ensures. So then the tests are prepared by the teacher. They are accredited by an independent agency which says yes, this meets the standard of this class. These are revolutionary ideas,
No,
but
no,
not that
absolutely. No, no,
not that
some thought
they
lead.
have not been, no, they are not that they have not been practiced. Revolutionary in our context, in a relative context. So
Right.
just imagine if a school is accredited and does its own job, the market chooses where my child should study, and that is, I think, the way going forward. But I wish it happens. Currently, we have too much. In fact, Deepti, you have been in corporate, so you would know our education system is the last highly regulated system. We have liberalized industry, we have liberalized even defense manufacturing, but when it comes to education, it is still highly regulated.
Right, right,
So
right.
I wish there more liberalization in education also.
Right, right, right. But so obviously that leads to parents getting more. There is a fair bit of pressure which is going on to parents both on a monetary side because of the school fee, coaching classes, and there's a pressure of a different order going on to the student side, which is like,
Yeah.
when do I get a breather? Maybe this is not so much that is required for me, and maybe I need to study a little lesser, but I've got to do so. That I mean, obviously India is a complex, is a diverse nation,
Yeah.
and therefore our problems are complex. It's probably, some of the other countries which are pretty small, they can probably manage it. We have, you know 30 plus languages to look after, and children want, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
being taught in mother tongue, to some of the other countries only teaching in English. So we're very complex, and therefore our problems are complex. But I think where we thinking is like, is there something where, the whole coaching classes is sort of, putting one set of pressures which is inevitable with the QA coming in. There are more, like, now the
Yeah.
humanities and the commerce, and somebody who's to appear for psychology or anything, they have to sort of, go through another set of entrance exams, and then there'll be another set of, people running those entrance exams, coaching,
Yeah.
right? So then what is the role of the school, and then what is the role of these coaching classes? So obviously that's a sort of,
No, I just wanted to add, as you rightly mentioned, the way forward is liberalized education.
hmm,
So we have highly centralized education. Just imagine a school in a tribal area and putting a CBSE kind of syllabus, which is for metropolitan area. It just doesn't work. You have to actually tailor education, or let the institution tailor education to its needs, or the
right.
region. There is no regional orientation today in the education system.
Right, 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 right. And one of the last things which, has been becoming very important lately, and maybe there was, it always was, but however, as a society, as a nation, we didn't, like, look at it in that depth. That is about the mental health of children. So what role can schools play in, striking that balance of providing that additional comfort or mental well-being of children, because that's where children stay for 8 hours, right?
No, I have a favorite line. It's like, where is the joy of learning gone? So I don't know, in our times, I think there was some fun of learning ourselves. I remember we would buy books at the time of declaration of results, and before the schools reopened, we would go through them ourselves much before the teacher start. There was this sense of curiosity. Now, coming to the question of mental health, you have said, maybe you have come across, but there are plethora of studies which suggest that the stress levels among the children have gone up because of the multifarious requirements, including the pressure from the digital or social media. So the schools can play a role in bringing, for example, in our school, we do something like happiness class. So there is a kind of steaming off. So these are the few things, but as you earlier pointed out, there is a total complexity which actually leads to great deal of stress on the students, and this stress is on account of fewer opportunities, limited opportunities, I would say. So the same student, if he is who is average here, is put in a developed country context, he would be one of the good students, or the even the very good students. So two things happen. One is the opportunity is there. Second is the liberty to pursue what you are doing, what you want to do. That is there. So to my mind, schools have a role, yes, but limited role. It is the overall system which is causing the mental well-being issues, and the solution has also to be multi-pronged. Schools can definitely bring in that joy of learning, reorient their education, blended learning, bring back the curiosity, and the relaxation in the classes, not putting too much of pressure, or even innovation in learning, for example, the project-based learning, bringing in project-based learning, which actually, if you are doing a project, you would appreciate, you are also unwinding mentally, isn't it? Away from the
Right,
concept. So
right.
that is the scope I see the schools can do in terms of easing the student stay. There's a limited window the student has in the school, 6 or 7 hours. So during
Right.
those 6 and 7 hours, some sports, some happiness, and every class having a discussion mode, blended learning mode, fun. Every class being a fun class. In fact, teachers can play a great role in ensuring, I mean, just have this watchword that my class will be a fun class. That is,
Mm.
I think,
Right, right,
easy.
right, right. So, sir, thank you so much for your time today. And
Yeah.
it was really lovely talking to you, because I think a lot of your feedback is very relevant, and it's at a very high level. And these are some of the views that we do expect, some all of you to bring, and for us to sort of also imagine how we create products, or what do we do more for children which helps them and serves the schools also. So that helps us, and obviously with senior leaders actually raising some voice around certain topics, it helps us to also work at policy level with all of you to make things better for children. And I am very happy and delighted that you accepted our invite, and you've taken out time to be with us and share your wonderful thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank
Best wishes. As I mentioned earlier, I see a lot of gap that was which Curious Time is trying to fulfill. Wish you all the best in your endeavors. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, sir. Thank you, and very happy Teachers' Day to you and all your
Visit to
schools and
all.
institutes. Thank you so much.
All of the people who would be sharing this platform, my best wishes or happy Teachers' Day greetings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.